Dear friends, in the heart of China, a colossal structure has been erected that has astonished the world. Not only is it immense in scale, but it also houses one of humanity's most precious spiritual treasures. Known as the Usnisa Palace, this sacred and magnificent masterpiece has surprised many heads of state. So, what secrets are hidden within this palace that have astonished the world? First, let us talk about Nayashushan, also known as Mount Nyoto. For centuries, it has been recognized as one of China's most important Buddhist mountains and the birthplace of the Nyoto school of Chan Buddhism, a major branch of Chinese Zen. What makes this mountain truly exceptional is that it safeguards an invaluable spiritual treasure, the Usnisa relic of Shakyamuni Buddha. Believed to be the only complete skull relic remaining in the world, it has a circumference of about 13.8 inches and a diameter of roughly 3.9 inches. Its dark golden-black color and transparent hair pores across the bone surface give viewers a powerful sense of sacredness and mystery. To preserve and honor this unparalleled relic, a monumental structure was built, the Usnisa Palace. It houses the Buddha's Usnisa relic and stands as one of the world's most distinctive cultural and spiritual centers. The Usnisa Palace is designed as a vast underground complex measuring approximately 722 feet long, 525 feet wide, nearly 295 feet high, and covering about 1.46 million square feet. It serves both as a sanctuary for Buddhist relics and as a striking cultural exhibition space. Inside, visitors experience a solemn atmosphere shaped by a harmonious blend of modern architecture and spiritual symbolism, creating a setting that feels both majestic and sacred. The palace's most remarkable feature is its three-layered dome system. The main dome, stretching about 394 feet, resembles the Buddha's robe spread wide, symbolizing boundless blessings. Beneath it, a smaller dome shaped like the Buddha's top knot is carved with thousands of intricate details, evoking countless devotees turning toward him. The base is anchored by a colossal lotus pedestal with 56 Bodhi petals and 56 auspicious cloud pillars, symbolizing wisdom, good fortune, and lasting peace. Upon entering the main hall, visitors encounter a vast chamber featuring a reclining jade Buddha statue about 24.6 feet tall, surrounded by artificial mist to set a contemplative mood. The space also includes wall niches with additional Buddha figures and artificial trees, and it is occasionally used for Buddhist ceremonies. Descending a few levels by escalator leads to the corridor of 10,000 Buddhas, followed shortly by the magnificent Grand Usnisa Hall. More than an architectural achievement, the Usnisa Palace is a symbol of faith and a convergence of art, belief, and Buddhist spirit refined over thousands of years. Standing here feels like entering a world that is both immense and tranquil, where spirituality and culture become one. Even so, the Usnisa Palace is only a single piece in the far broader story of China's colossal palaces. Because when we arrive in Beijing, we encounter an entirely different masterpiece, both poetic and lavish, the Forbidden City, also known as the Beijing Palace Museum. Built in the early 15th century during the Ming Dynasty, the Forbidden City is the largest and best-preserved imperial palace complex in the world. Covering more than 7.75 million square feet, it contains nearly 1,000 buildings and around 8,700 rooms. Numbers that alone can astonish first-time listeners. For over 500 years, it served as the supreme center of power for the Ming and Qing dynasties and was the residence of 24 Chinese emperors. Its architecture conveys not only grandeur and authority, but also ancient feng shui philosophy and a traditional view of the universe. The palace is arranged along a north-south axis, symbolizing heavenly order. Gleaming yellow-tiled roofs, vivid red walls, and countless dragon and phoenix carvings make the complex a lasting symbol of imperial power. From the Meridian Gate and the Hall of Supreme Harmony to the quieter rear gardens, every structure reinforces the absolute status of the royal family. Today, the Forbidden City is both a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of China's most visited landmarks, drawing tens of millions of visitors each year. Walking through its massive gates, vast courtyards, and seemingly endless corridors, visitors are transported back to the solemn world of one of Asia's greatest empires. Next on our journey through China's greatest palaces, there is one landmark we simply cannot overlook, an estate that has become a symbol of Eastern civilization itself, the Summer Palace, also known as Yihiyuan. Originally built during the Qing dynasty, the Summer Palace was not only a retreat for the imperial family, but also a vast royal garden covering nearly 1.12 square miles. What makes it truly remarkable is the refined harmony between palace architecture and the natural landscape. Grand pavilions, towers, and halls are woven seamlessly around an expansive lake, alongside man-made hills and vibrant gardens, forming a scene that feels both majestic and poetic. The most iconic structure within the complex is the Long Corridor, a covered walkway stretching over 2,300 feet along the shore of Kunming Lake. More than just a passageway, it functions as an open-air art gallery, featuring thousands of painted panels on its beams that depict landscapes, birds, flowers, and famous historical stories. This extraordinary design has made the Long Corridor a one-of-a-kind architectural symbol, inseparably linked to the identity of the Summer Palace. Today, the Summer Palace is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site and remains one of Beijing's most visited attractions. Stepping inside, visitors feel transported back to the imperial past, where architecture and nature blend perfectly to celebrate the splendor, authority, and refined artistic spirit of the Chinese imperial court. When it comes to imperial palaces in China, most people immediately think of the Forbidden City in Beijing. However, few realize that a second Forbidden City exists in Shenyang, Liaoning Province. Built in the early 17th century, it served as the residence of the emperors of the later Jin dynasty, the forerunner of the Qing dynasty, before the capital moved north. The complex covers about 650,000 square feet and includes over 300 halls, corridors, gates, and ceremonial buildings. Its architecture is especially notable for blending Manchu, Mongolian, and Central Plains influences rather than following a purely Han Chinese style, reflecting a dynasty in the process of rising to power. Though smaller than Beijing's Forbidden City, the Shenyang Palace holds immense historical significance, preserving the origins of the Qing dynasty, a dynasty that later led China to its peak and expanded its territory on an unprecedented scale. If the Forbidden City represents perfected imperial power, Shenyang marks the beginning, the first steps of a dynasty that ruled for nearly 3 centuries. And looking further back, even before the Qing dynasty, China had an even grander palace, the Changluo Palace of the Han dynasty. More than 1,000 years before the Shenyang Imperial Palace existed, the ancient capital of Chang'an, today's Xi'an in Shaanxi Province, was already home to one of the most magnificent palaces of the ancient world, Changgol Palace. Built in the 2nd century BCE, it was originally the residence of the empress and later became a key center for ceremonies and governance during the Han Dynasty. Historians are especially struck by its vast scale, estimated at about 1.85 square miles, surpassing most palaces of its era. For this reason, many Western scholars have called Changgol the largest palace in human history. Although most of the structures now remain only as foundations, archaeological discoveries from walls and palace bases to traces of imperial gardens still reveal the extraordinary prosperity of the Han Dynasty. This was also the starting point of the Silk Road, where crucial decisions launched centuries of East-West exchange. If the Shenyang Imperial Palace marks a dynastic transition, Changgol Palace represents a golden age when China stood at the center of the ancient world. And after this glorious Han era, history would record yet another palace tied to the great Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the Yipang Palace. The next stage of our journey takes us even further back in history to the Qin dynasty, an era that marked the birth of imperial China and produced achievements whose influence still endures today. Xianying Palace, the capital of Qin Shi Huang, stands as a clear testament to the dynasty's absolute power and centralized rule. Xianying Palace served as the political and ceremonial center of the Qin state. It once housed the throne of Qin Shi Huang, the emperor who unified China, initiated the Great Wall, and left behind the world-famous terracotta army. The complex was vast, with thousands of halls, corridors, and ceremonial plazas. Although most of it now survives only as ruins after centuries of conflict and decay, Xianying Palace remains a lasting symbol of total centralized authority, laying the foundation for more than 2 millennia of imperial rule in China. When Tibet is mentioned, many people immediately think of towering snow-covered mountains and an endless blue sky. Yet, rising dramatically within this landscape stands a structure that leaves anyone who sees it in awe, the Potala Palace. Perched atop Red Hill in Lhasa, at an elevation of nearly 13,100 feet above sea level, the Potala Palace is often called the highest palace in the world. Covering more than 1.4 million square feet, it served for centuries as Tibet's most important political and religious center. From this very palace, successive Dalai Lamas not only oversaw Buddhist affairs, but also governed the political life of Tibet. What gives the Potala Palace its breathtaking presence is its tiered architecture, rising like a massive stone mountain. Its walls, up to 10 feet thick and painted in alternating white and red, convey both power and spiritual solemnity. Inside are thousands of Buddhist statues, murals, and ancient scriptures preserved over centuries. Among them, the most striking is the golden stupa of the 5th Dalai Lama, an opulent structure covered in gold and inlaid with precious gems, symbolizing the authority and endurance of Tibetan Buddhism. The palace is divided into 2 main sections, the White Palace and the Red Palace. The White Palace served as the living and administrative quarters of the Dalai Lamas, while the Red Palace is the sacred religious core where major ceremonies are held. This seamless fusion of political function and spiritual devotion has made the Potala Palace an unmatched cultural symbol. Today, the Potala Palace is both a sacred pilgrimage site for millions of Buddhists and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Standing proudly atop its mountain, with a beauty that is both majestic and mysterious, it continues to give visitors the feeling of stepping into another world. One where humanity seems to touch the profound stillness and sacredness of the universe. Returning to China, as history entered the era of the Three Kingdoms, a turbulent age marked by constant warfare and fierce rivalries, the center of power no longer lay in Chang'an or Xining. Instead, it gradually shifted southwest to the fertile land of Sichuan. It was here, in Chengdu, a region embraced by mountains and rivers, that Liu Bei, one of the era's most remarkable heroes, formally declared himself emperor and established the Shu Han dynasty. The Chengdu Palace became the political heart of this new state, embodying the ambition to restore the Han dynasty and standing as a symbol of authority and idealism for a young but determined regime. What made this palace especially significant was not only its political role, but also its deep association with legendary figures of Chinese history. This was where Zhuge Liang, also known as Kong Ming, the brilliant strategist revered for centuries, planned his campaigns, and where loyal generals Guan Yu and Zhang Fei once came and went to discuss military affairs. Historical records suggest that the palace was built in harmony with natural feng shui, using rivers, lakes, and defensive walls to form a complex that was both imposing and resilient, capable of withstanding the chaos of a war-torn era. Although the original structures have long since vanished with time, the historical legacy of the Shu Han still lives on in modern Chengdu. Archaeological sites, stone inscriptions, and related relics now draw history enthusiasts eager to reconnect with an age when loyalty, righteousness, and the dream of restoration echoed powerfully through the pages of Chinese history. Traveling further back to the Tang Dynasty in China, we encounter a structure even more magnificent in scale, the Daming Palace in the ancient capital of Chang'an, today's Xi'an. Built in the 7th century, the Daming Palace was once the largest imperial palace in the world. Its area was 4 times larger than the Forbidden City in Beijing and more than 12 times the size of the Louvre Palace in Paris. This was where Tang emperors held court, issued imperial decrees, and received envoys from across the known world. Beyond serving as a political center, the Daming Palace was also a symbol of unmatched splendor, reflecting the power and prosperity of one of the most glorious dynasties in Chinese history. Today, although only ruins remain of this colossal complex, archaeological research and 3D reconstructions have offered a clearer picture of its staggering scale. The visions of vast ceremonial halls, endless dragon courtyards, and long, straight corridors are enough to confirm that the Daming Palace was once the very heart of the Tang Empire, a place where culture, art, and imperial authority reached their peak. The Daming Palace in Nanjing, Jiangsu Province, is an imperial complex rarely mentioned, yet it played a vital role in Chinese history. Built in the early Ming Dynasty, it served as the empire's political, military, and cultural center during its formative years. At that time, Nanjing was the imperial capital, and the Daming Palace housed the throne, governed state affairs, and hosted the dynasty's most important ceremonies. The palace was immense in scale, comprising ceremonial halls, courtyards, corridors, storehouses, and fortified surrounding walls. Historical records describe a grand architectural complex with sweeping curved roofs and finely carved beams and pillars, reflecting both supreme authority and the Ming Dynasty's early ambition. More than an administrative hub, it symbolized the beginning of a prosperity that would last nearly 3 centuries under one of China's most illustrious dynasties. Over time, much of the original structure was damaged or lost to historical upheavals. Even so, its legacy endures through ruins, foundations, and reconstructed areas. Today, the site is a historical park that attracts visitors and scholars alike, allowing them to imagine the palace's former grandeur and sense the spirit of a turbulent yet flourishing era. The Daming Palace is therefore not merely a historical site, but a testament to the birth of the Ming Dynasty in Nanjing before the capital moved to Beijing and the Forbidden City was built. It stands as the opening chapter of the Ming imperial story, laying the foundation for centuries of stability and prosperity. Finally, amid the fast-paced rhythm of modern life, there remains a palace-monastery complex that feels both majestic and deeply sacred. The Lama Temple, also known as Yonghe Palace. Originally built as the residence of Prince Yong during the Qing dynasty, the complex was later expanded into an imperial palace after he ascended the throne. It was eventually converted into the largest Tibetan Buddhist monastery in Beijing. What makes Yonghe Palace truly distinctive is its seamless fusion of traditional Chinese imperial architecture with Tibetan Buddhist religious art, creating a space that is both solemn and unique. The complex covers an area of about 710,000 square feet and includes numerous halls, corridors, and pagodas. Inside, it houses countless precious treasures, the most remarkable being a colossal statue of Maitreya Buddha carved from a single piece of sandalwood, standing nearly 59 feet tall, a record officially recognized by the Guinness World Records. In addition, thousands of statues, murals, ritual objects, and sacred scriptures preserved here further affirm Yonghe Palace as one of the most important Buddhist centers in China. Today, Yonghe Palace is not only a spiritual destination for Buddhist worshippers, but also a place where visitors can experience a refined harmony between religion and art, between imperial history and devotional culture. Each palace on this journey is not merely an architectural structure, but a powerful symbol of authority, spirituality, and artistic achievement spanning thousands of years of Chinese history. These wonders have drawn the world's gaze, and have even left major powers like the United States in awe. Yet this is only a small part of China's vast legacy of extraordinary megastructures. Countless mysteries, marvels, and awe-inspiring creations are still waiting to be explored. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to 9M Discovery, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next incredible journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.